Good morning, guys. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. This is your morning show, guys. We are looking at the month ahead. It's the month of September. There are 4 games coming up in the month of September, and there are only 2 league games within that 4 games, 1 Europa and 1 League Cup. Look, we're going to look at it in terms of, is this very much 4 wins and bust for Philippe Clement? Clement has put himself in a very difficult position with a proportion of the Rangers fan base, given the recent results and performances. I mean, let's face it, losing to our city rivals is not a move that is going to carry you a lot of popularity, is it? And I think a lot of people have also been unimpressed with the way that the team have started this season. Yes, there has been a huge overhaul in terms of numbers, number of players going out, number of players coming in. Also, questions on a number of podcasts and by a number of people of the quality of the signings as well. Are the signings going to be good enough? Are these signings what we need to take this club forward? They are kind of some key concepts that have been argued over in recent times. So look, this is where we're at this moment in time as a club. We are looking, very much forward to this month and hoping that our fortunes start to turn after what was a very disappointing start to the month, obviously, with the defeat against Celtic. So we go into the next 4 games, guys, and we're looking at the next 4 games today. We're going to look also as well about what I feel that Clement really does need to do over the next 4 games. Morning, George. How are you this morning? How is things in Cole? Hope you're having a good one. Morning to Stuart as well. Good morning, Stuart. It's a quick, just impromptu podcast. Didn't think I was getting time to do anything this morning with running around after my daughters, getting one to school, getting one on the train to Birmingham. So yeah, a few people there. DL2 says good morning. Good morning to DL2. Good morning to everyone who is watching, whether you've commented or not. Obviously, please smash that like. And obviously, please check out the video that came out this morning. So let's have a look at what is coming up in the month of September for Rangers. This is our fixture schedule for the rest of this month. So we start off on Sunday at 12 o'clock. We go head-to-head with Dundee United at Tannadice. Then we go on the Saturday, the next Saturday at 5:30. We go against Dundee. Hopefully that will be back at Ibrox. We're hoping that is the case. Obviously, only 3/4 of the ground will be open for that game before Malmo away and Hibs at home. So 2 home games, 2 away games in this month of September. So, look, it is 6 points available. It is a progression to the semi-final, and it is the opening of the whole situation of the Europa League. George says, I'm good, thank you. Just wish my team was. DL2 says, Dundee United have been pretty decent lately. So let's have a little look through this. I mean, obviously, we'll preview these games in a lot more detail as we approach these games. That's the way we do it on this channel. We do obviously put a bit more preview into this. I mean, if we look at Dundee United, since Dundee United have come back up to the SPL, their form has been moderately good, coming back up into this league. If we look at how they've done. Match day 1, they drew 2-2 in a ding-dong Dundee derby. Love a ding-dong Dundee derby, don't we, on Tayside? 2-2 draw with Dundee on the opening day of the season. Then there was a 1-1 away at Ross County, a 1-0 Scottish League Cup home win against St Mirren, a 2-0 home win against St Johnstone, a 1-0 away win at Hearts, which these days isn't that tricky because Hearts are not particularly great at the moment, are they? And then obviously Rangers upcoming for them. So that's how they've done in terms of results. And if you actually look at the table at the moment, Dundee sit above us in the table, which is quite embarrassing. As I've said before, though, the league table's got a bit of a, I don't know, for me, a bit of a smack of the old 1980s about it. The early 80s, maybe, under the days of McLean and Sir Alex Ferguson. If you look at how the league table currently sits, hopefully it won't be sat like that for much longer. Hopefully Rangers will be back up where we belong, top of the table. But obviously, that's where we're at. Now, we are going to talk a little bit of team, Scott. Don't worry. I don't want to talk about that. I do want to address the whole team issue as well. So, look, here is as it stands at this moment in time. Let's see if I can get this league table on the screen as well. Let me take that off, don't I? So just bear with me a minute. Here is the league table as it currently stands. So, if you look at the league table as it stands at this moment in time, Celtic are top on 12, 4 wins out of 4. Aberdeen second, 4 wins out of 4. Dundee United 2 draws, 2 wins, still unbeaten. Rangers sit fourth, 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat, 7 points, the same number of points as Motherwell. It's just we have a slightly better goal difference than them. Dundee 6th, St Mirren 7th, St Johnstone 8th, Hibs 9th, Ross County 10th, Hearts 11th, Kilmarnock 12th. So at this moment in time, Dundee United actually sit above us in the table, which is a slight concern. Jim Goodwin is still their manager as well. It won't be an easy game. I mean, let's face it, Dundee will be bang up for it, as every team are when they come to play Rangers. Dundee United will be giving it their all. We know there is a rivalry from their side. We know that they don't like us particularly, and they want to beat us whenever they play us. So we know that rivalry is definitely there. So look, at the end of the day, we've got to obviously get out there on Sunday and start winning again. I mean, I honestly believe that if Dundee were to get a positive result on Sunday, that this would genuinely be a real death knell for old Philippe Clement, a real trouble for Philippe Clement. He put him in a whole load of bother. I think we all remember, don't we, last season? I'm not saying that Clement is going to be sacked if we were to lose on Sunday, but if you remember back to last season, Michael Beale loses to Celtic, he then loses to Aberdeen, he then loses his job. There is perhaps a little bit of a correlation there. But I don't think for a minute that Clement is going to be sacked at any point very soon, given the fact that he's obviously signed that extension, and I don't think Rangers can afford to pay him off. Scott says, will Clement start by Rami? We are going to talk a little bit about that. We are going to talk a little bit about teams. Once I've gone through the fixtures, I'm going to talk through the fixtures, Scott, and I'm going to get to team news. I want to talk because I've got a real clear message that I want to put across on this. Stuart says 9 wins in the last 22. Is Clement really improving this team? I can only see us going backwards. I guess time will tell on that one, Stuart. We won't beat them. Clement is clueless, says Kenneth Rutherford, and make Rangers great again. Got to say, love that. Morning Bears. Echoes of old Mr. Trump there from Make Rangers great again. Now let's go back to that thing. So the Dundee game is the first one up. Like I said, it is an absolute must win. I mean, we cannot afford to fall any more points behind them in the league. Realistically, you look at their month of. If we look at Celtic's month of September and how they line up. I mean, what have they got coming up this weekend? Celtic have got Hearts at home on Saturday, so there's a good chance Celtic will be 8 points clear of us come Sunday. That is going to obviously start to heap the pressure back up again. So, that is a situation that does need to be addressed. We cannot afford that. Celtic then play Slovan Bratislava in the Champions League at Parkhead, a game they really should win. They then play Falkirk in the quarterfinals. Again, a game they probably will win. And then their last game of September for them is away at St Johnstone. Again, a game that they will win. So, look, I mean, Celtic are probably going to get 4 wins from 4, 6 points from 6 coming out of this month. So, realistically, we cannot afford to fall any more points. We cannot afford any more bad results. If we're coming out of this month 8 points behind them, 7 points behind them, whatever, it is not a situation we can allow to happen. Aberdeen are at home to Motherwell on Saturday. They then play Spartans in the League Cup away to Dundee, which will, is a potential banana skin for them there. So they've only got 3 games in the month of September with no European football, of course. So they have more time to rest. So there is a slight worry there with that one. So, I think we've got to obviously get that win against Dundee on Saturday. On Sunday, there can be no more mistakes. There has to be a high quality performance. There has to be, the best possible team selected. And I'm going to talk about that shortly. Obviously, then the League Cup tie against Dundee, quarterfinal. We've got to get that. We've got to obviously come through that. This is a game that we do need to win. We're defending this. A defeat at Ibrox, first game back, a bad performance. Again, will, I think, really set Rangers back. It's something we cannot afford to do. So again, that's got to be a win. That's got to be a positive result. So, for me, we're looking at this situation and looking at the way the league is shaping up at this moment in time, and it's got to be a win in the league and a win in the League Cup. The worry obviously is quite clear that, the formation, the shape, the way we play has not, to this point yet, been very good, has it? It has not been of the highest standard. And that is something that, is quite worrying. Look, I think at the end of the day, we do have to make sure that we win that Dundee game. I think it's absolutely vital that we get to the semi-finals. A defeat against Dundee, I think, would be utterly unforgivable. Exiting a cup competition that we're defending, is a worry for me. It really is a worry for me. So that is something, that we do need to obviously address. Now, I'm just going to put a poll up in the live chat. How many wins will Rangers get in the rest of September? And let's put it up on the poll and see what you think, what your vote is. I mean, look, I can't get 0 on there. I'm not going to be negative and put 0 on there. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, or 4. Get your vote in. The poll is about to go live. The poll is now live. So please, obviously, get your vote in. What do you think? How many wins will Rangers get in the month of September? Please, obviously, get that vote in. Move it along. Scott says, here, where's Scott's comment? Scott says, Clement won't be sacked. He has control of the club. I think he does have a strong hand over the club, Scott. I agree with that point you're making there. John says, morning, John. How are you doing this morning? Stuart says, starting to worry about Clement too, mate. His tactics aren't good enough. We play long ball football, hoping to play for the second ball in the midfield. Was all over the place in the Old Firm. I think the concern is there, mate, that we can't play long ball football. Dexter's, is not a target man, is he? He just isn't a target man. Bayrami won't play. He won't get back till Thursday. 2 days training with his teammates. That's against Clement's principles, says Kenneth. Matt says, hello. Matt, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you here. 4 wins for Matt in the month of September. We then obviously travel to, we are going to talk, Kenneth, and I know it's Scott raised it. We are going to talk teams shortly. We will talk about teams. I do want to address that this morning. Malmo Rangers, so the first Europa League tie. Now, given the group that we've got, given the group that we are, well, not group, the 8 fixtures that we are facing, it is absolutely vital that we get off to a very good start in this group or this series of fixtures. You look at the fixtures as they are aligned, you look at the fixtures as they are currently, running up, and you look at what we've got to finish this run of fixtures. For me, it's absolutely vital we get off to a good start. Malmo away, yes, it will be tricky. Yes, we have lost in the past to Malmo, but that was a different team, a different era. That was a different Malmo team. So if you look at the first 4 fixtures we've got in the Europa League, Malmo at home, Malmo away, Lyon at home, FCSB at home, and then Olympiacos away. I think from those first 4 fixtures, we need to be looking and targeting 3 wins. 3 wins from 4 is an absolute must for me because of the fact that, once you go to Olympiacos, that is a big concern. That is a concern. That is a tough place to go. It really is. DL2 says he believes that we will have, I'd say 3, but might be less. Sergi says here, to think we were here thinking if we can beat Dundee, Hibs and United is insane. Would never have thought we would be in this mess. True. Bayrami hasn't built his furniture yet, lol. Bayrami's probably here for the B team, lol. Guys, funny. I'm not confident at the moment with this team, says DL2. 2 wins, says says John. Matt says here in the live chat, my concern is 4 or 5 players that have left have said there is no style or system under Clement and it's all very amateur. I mean, that is a worry. That's something that Cantwell said. That is a concern that there is this report that, we have not got a set system and we are kind of dependent on individuals doing moments of brilliance to get games and to win games. So, that is a concern for me. I agree with you there, Matt. If it's not working on the pitch for Clement, he doesn't change his tactics, formation, have a plan B to get the win. That's what I liked about Gio in Europa League run. Changed it up, says Stuart. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Stuart. I'll level with you. I think that is a big concern for me. Is Clement's plan B seems to be to change the players on the pitch and do plan A better. That is a worry. That is a major worry. We will talk tactics and things shortly. Should be winning all 4, says Bluebells. I agree, Bluebells. Absolutely. We should be winning all 4 of these games. And Kenneth adds to Matt's point. He says, Matt gonna know a current player. He says the same. It is worrying. It really is. Ross Ferguson. Ross, how you doing, buddy? Europe is not important. Getting back up in the league is our main target. Agree. Ross, are you the guy who's going to start a new podcast from the Royal Blue? If you are, Ross, drop me a message. So look, we've got this game against Malmo. For me, it's vital that we get this win. It's not money. It's not the winning it's the money that matters. And we're not going to get the amount of money that Celtic are going to get in the Champions League, but we still, for me, need that money. Matt says it seems a shambles under him, Kenneth. I mean, this is the big concern, and like I said, I'm going to talk about this shortly. Now, we obviously Rangers Hibs at home. I mean, that's got to be that's an absolute must win. I mean, if I'm absolutely honest with you, Hibs are an absolute disaster at the moment. They're a team we always beat. We know the song Hibs are falling apart again. So we've got to make sure that, we continue that Hibs are falling apart again and maintain that. So for me, it has to be 4 wins out of 4. Now, I am very much of the same opinion as a lot of you guys. There is, for me, a concern over Clement. And the concern is the lack of a style, the lack of tactics, the lack of a plan, the lack of a real in-game management style, the lack of ability to change things. It is a worry. It is a concern, guys. And it's one of the things that I've kind of picked out with Clement, that his plan A is just to keep doing what he's doing, playing 4-2-3-1, to hope that something happens, to hope that someone can play just to kill a ball. Ross, no worries, mate. Or one of those, that's the concern. Now, the plan B doesn't seem to be a plan B. The plan B, to me, seems to be to change the players on the field and just do plan A better, which to me is not a plan B. You need a different set of tactics, a different formation, a different shape. And, his inability to change formation, change shape is a concern. And, I've spoken a number of times, haven't I, about, good coaches around the world put players into shapes and formations that suit the players you've got. You as a manager may have a way you like to play: 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 4-2-4, 4-4-2, 4-3-5-2, 3-4-1-2, whatever you like to play. You have that shape. But if you haven't got the players to do that, you need to adapt your formation, adapt your shape, adapt your tactics to suit your players. And one of the worries that I've got is that Clement doesn't seem to be able to do that. We've gone through a period here in the league where we haven't had a 10, not a real 10. Lawrence is not a 10. We haven't had a 6. We've been trying to shoehorn players into those positions, and for me, it hasn't worked. It's been very ineffective. Now, look, the squad is fitter now. That is one positive. The squad is fitter now, which is positive. Of course it is. The fact that players are seemingly returning to fitness. Raskin's back. Cortez is back. We obviously, Danilo is not, so that's the one obviously absentee. Ridvan is still out. We don't know what the position is with Ridvan. So other than Ridvan and Danilo, we have pretty much a fully fit squad to pick from. Let's have a look at Stuart's comment here. Stuart says, Igman looked good in the Old Firm, but that wasn't the game to give the boys first taste of Scottish football. 3-0 down at the piggery, screams out of his depth from Clement. F217 says, if he doesn't get 3 points at Tannadice, it's over. Well, I think if he doesn't get the full points at Tannadice, mate, he will be under an awful lot of pressure. Right, look, it's quite clear to me that whatever the situation is on Sunday, no matter who is fit, no matter who is back from international duty, no matter what the situation is with players returning from international duty, no matter who it is that's just joined the club, no matter who's just been down IKEA on the Sunday or the Saturday or the Monday or whenever you've been down IKEA, you've got to, for me, on Sunday and starting on Sunday, you play your best team. You play your best team. You don't fanny around with rotation, with resting players, with saying, oh, he's only had 2 training sessions, or he's only had 1 training session, or he's only just come back, he's off the bench. Sports scientists say this. Clement has to say, fuck that. I pick my best team. I pick my strongest 11, and I go for it with my strongest 11. I'm sorry, Clement, you are in last chance saloon now. You are in a situation where the pressure is raising on you. The pressure is coming onto you. And I know we've heard this crap about we won't see the best of Rangers till October, November, December, whenever, by which point we could be, effectively out of the Europa League, out of the League Cup, way out of the title race, and only got the Scottish Cup to play for, which is unacceptable for a club like Rangers. We've got to hit the ground running from Sunday. And from Sunday onwards now, there can be no more mistakes. There can be no more slip-ups. There can be no more, stupid comments after games. This is what's got to happen. Now, Bluebell says, if Tav leaves, too late to bring in a replacement for the Europa. Not that I'm worried. As long as Tav moves on, I'm happy. Me too. Tav's got to go, mate. Tav's just shocking. The guy's got to go. Morning, shoots forwards is absolutely. Pressures for tyres. I think Clement is disliked by the players. Stuart says Tav will start Sunday, cost us 3 points, go on to cost us 10 to 15 points this season with all his mistakes. I did read an interesting statistic the other day that Tav's been responsible for 19 goals against Celtic. He's been directly responsible for 19 goals. Matt says, never heard such a big cop-out for bad results. We need to wait till October. You've been here a year, mate, and still no system. This is the thing, the guys, that's the one thing that is slightly irritating, Matt, about that statement is the fact that, he's been here now for a year and he's had a whole pre-season. Now, you don't see Brendan Rodgers coming out and saying, oh, well, you won't see the best of Celtic till October, November. You won't see the best, Jimmy Thielin, I think the guy's called Aberdeen, coming out and saying, oh, you won't see the best of Aberdeen till October, November. They've signed players, they've brought players in, they've sent players out. You can't come out as a manager and say, oh, the team won't be ready till October when the season starts in August. That is just ridiculous. You can't come out and say that. You look at EPL teams. Arne Slot's just taken over Liverpool. He hasn't come out and said, oh, you won't see the best of Liverpool until October. Eric Ten Hag has just spent, okay, no, Man United are doing shit at the moment, but, he hasn't come out and said, oh, you won't see the best of Man United until October. It is an absolutely stupid statement. The medical people he brought in are worse. They let Matondo play on against them when he was clearly injured, said Kenneth. How the heck did he get a contract extension? He's a clown, says Scott. Now, for me, you've got to go with your strongest possible lineup. Now, I had a little think about this morning. This is how I would go against Dundee on Sunday afternoon. This is how I would go Sunday afternoon against Dundee. So obviously Jack Butland will start in goal. As dodgy as Jack has been in the last couple of games, you are not going to get a situation where Jack Butland is dropped and Liam Kelly is brought in. It just is never, ever going to happen. So for me, morning, Stephen. How you doing, buddy? Stuart, that's a great point. That is a great point. Stuart says, Tav up against Son when we play Tottenham. Could you imagine the hammering we'll get from Son that night? Agreed. Son will make Tav look absolutely great. The back four, Dujon Sterling for me has to begin starting at right back. If Dujon Sterling is a right back, which he was bought as a right back, and if Dujon Sterling is to have a future as a right back, and given the fact that at the start of this season, Philippe Clement said that James Tavernier will not play every single game this season and every single minute of every single game, and he has so far played every single game and every single minute of every game. So for me, Dujon Sterling has to start on the right. You've got to start with Balogun in central defence. Why have you got to start with Balogun? One, if Tav's not there, you make Balogun captain. Why do you make Balogun captain? Because Balogun's the only one who gives a fuck. He genuinely is, for me, the only player that actually cares. You listen to Leon Balogun being interviewed. He takes it personally. He does not accept second best. He does not accept defeat. He understands Rangers standards. He understands what it is to be a Ranger. So for me, you've got to obviously be in a situation where he has to be in the team. For me, he has to be in the team. Really does have to be in the team. He's the best defender we've got. Proper, we've got to see what Proper's worth. I mean, look, we've pinned our hopes on Proper. John Suter, for me, has a mistake in him. Leon King is not an option. For me, Proper's obviously going to start there. Casanwejo, I think, will be on the bench. Hefte will start at left back because Ridvan's not fit. Now, there's a lot of debate here about Cortez. Is Cortez even fit enough? Stuart says, Sergi, even if he is, he will last 2 weeks if we're lucky. Kenneth Rutherford says, Cortez won't be fit enough. Sterling's due another injury. Look, I'll get to Cortez. I'm going to talk about Cortez. So just hold on with the old Cortez. Barron and Diamande is the 6 and the 8. Barron is going to, Barron's not a 6. I'll be absolutely honest with you. Barron is not a 6, okay? He isn't a 6. He's not a 6. Barron is more an 8. He's more an attacking midfielder. He's a player. For me, at the end of the day, I don't think that he is, genuinely a 6. So Barron will be a 6, though. He'll have to fill in as a 6. Diamande is the 8. Now, the 3 behind the striker, Czerny wasn't great against Celtic, but I think he'll be good enough against Dundee United. I really do. Bayrami has to start in 10. If on Sunday you see a team with Tom Lawrence at 10, Bayrami on the left wing, I think we can quite categorically say that Phil Clement has lost the fucking plot. He has. There can be no more excuses, Big Phil. There can be no more fucking about. There can be no more round pegs, square pegs, round holes, round pegs, square holes, whatever. Now, as I mentioned on the podcast last night, guys, and I got quite animated about this, Fabio Silva, right? Fabio Silva didn't play well for us. Yeah, okay, fair enough, right? Was a bit of a fanny at times. I get that, right? I get that. But Fabio Silva was not a left winger. Fabio Silva was never a left winger, okay? He was a 10 or he was a 9.5. Now, people say, there's no such thing as a 9.5. Well, yes, I know there's no such thing as a 9.5. What I mean is he's not an out-and-out 9, basically. He's more a false 9. He's more a Bobby Firmino 9. He's more a, Diego Jota 9. He's more a, what's the guy who plays for Arsenal? I can't remember the guy's name now, but, he's more that sort of 9. So if he plays Bayrami on the left wing, for me, it's Fabio Silva Mark II. It really is. It's just, again, playing players in the wrong positions. Oscar Cortez is back in training. Oscar Cortez apparently is fit enough to play. Now, if Clement comes out with his usual bollocks of, well, you know what? He's not 100% fit. We've got to be careful with him. We've got to ease him back in. Well, it's your job, mate. At the end of the day, it's your fucking job. Play your team. Play your best players. Do your best 11. You get your new signings in there. Show us that these new signings can play football. Stop fucking about playing people in the wrong position. Stop fucking about playing players who aren't fit to play for this club. Stop the stupid excuses of, oh, he's not fully fit yet. Oh, he's got to come off the bench first. Oh, the medical science people say this. Shut up. We don't care, Philip Clement. Sort your fucking act out. Play your best players in your best positions. Stop being a fucking knob. It's just logical for me. Absolutely logical. And Dessers will have to start up front because Danilo is not fit. And Igman, I don't think, is obviously not ready yet. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. The other thing about that 3, I think, with Czerny, Bayrami, and Cortez, is you can have them, you can have this. Whether Clement will do this, I don't know. But what I would do, if you've got those 3, is have a flexibility, a fluidity. If you've got players moving, changing positions, you confuse the defence. You automatically cause problems, particularly against the low block, which Dundee are likely to employ. If Bayrami's in the middle, then he goes to the right or goes to the left. Cortez comes to the right wing. Czerny goes to the left wing. You cause confusion in the defence. And that's what we need to start seeing, a variance in tactics. Stuart says, I don't like Proper so far. Mate, Proper hasn't been great so far, but the problem is we've got to try and get the best out of him. He is what we've got now until January, so we've got to try and get the best out of him and see. And it may be that he's just having time to settle in, that he's not quite ready yet. I don't know what the situation is. Twente, he was a very good player. They speak very highly of him. We've got to try and get the best out of him. Matt's not impressed with Dio. Czerny has done one good thing, correct. That would be my team, but no chance Clement will play that. Suter and Tav are stick-ons. I agree with you, Kenneth. This is what I'm on about. Why? Well, I'll go through your comments and I'll make my point. Cortez is actually naturally a right wing player as well, but in fairness, Bayrami has played just as much in the left wing as the 10 for different clubs, says Bluebells. He has, but he was bought as a 10, mate. He was bought as a 10. Bluebells, I'd love that. I'd love to see Robbie Fraser as a left back. I really would. Robbie Fraser's a good player. I like Robbie Fraser as a left back. Yeah, that's a good shout for me, Bluebells. I'd like to see that, but I don't think he'll do it. If we spent 3.5 million on Bayrami, surely he can't start Lawrence over him. Mate, this is Philippe Clement. Anything is possible. I don't get why we bought Cortez in right wing, but we play him on the left wing. Good call. Clement's been a pain at times. Absolutely. Why don't we play more central midfielders and one winger floating side to side? Teams know what they do. That's interesting comment. PC's a knob. We're fucked either way. It's just a matter of time, I'm afraid. He's shown me nothing to convince me he's the right man. And James says, I'd like to see Nsiala on Sunday. Saturday, sorry. It's Sunday, mate. James, you've got as much chance of seeing me win the 100 metres at the next Olympics as seeing Nsiala play on Sunday. Nsiala will not play until after Christmas at the earliest, I don't think. I don't think you'll see him, mate. I don't think you'll see him. Would like to see Nsiala and the other young lad from Feyenoord surely give us pace at the back is what we badly need. Matt, I agree, but you're not going to see it. You're not going to see, mate, you are not going to see Nsiala until the new year at the earliest. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. DL2 says, I want the January window already. I still don't think this team is at high standards yet. Clement needs to get his act together and put his best players on, but he shouldn't play Tav against Dundee United. Mate, I don't get it. I've got to say I don't get it. You know, to me, you pick players on form. You pick players on merit. Now, if James Tavernier had started this season and was playing great football and was, you know, assisting goals, scoring goals, defending well, I'd say pick him. I'd have no issues. As much as I can't stand James Tavernier, I'd still pick him because of the fact that, you know, if he's playing well, you pick him. But surely you pick on form. Surely you don't just pick players because A, they're the captain, or B, you know, they've always played there. You pick your best team. Now, if Clement continues with this ridiculousness of, oh, he's not fully fit yet, oh, he can't start a game. Well, if he can't start a game, what the fuck? Why is he on the bench then? I don't get that. I genuinely do not get that. If a player can't start a game, why is he on the bench? If he's not fit enough to start, he ain't fit enough to play. Simple as, right? And this is the point that gets me. Now, let's say, for example, right, Cortez, for example, if the argument is with Cortez, oh, he's not fit enough to start, he's only fit enough to be on the bench. Well, okay, we start Cheney and say we start Sterling on the wing, right? And after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, one of those two players goes down injured, right? And your only winger on the bench is Oscar Cortez. What do? Well, you bring Oscar Cortez on. Well, then he's got to play 75 minutes, 80 minutes, 85 minutes, whatever. So if he wasn't fit enough to start, why is he on the bench when you might have to bring him on after 5 or 10 minutes if a player gets injured? I know it's an if or a big if, but you're still making a rod for your own back by making stupid comments like Clement makes. So, yeah, I agree. No doubt he'll go. I like this comment, Scott. Very funny, mate. Very funny. No doubt he'll go hike in the Highlands and get lost. Definitely lost at Rangers. And Ciala got to an under-21 Champions League final. He's playing for our B team. That's madness. Matt, I agree. I don't get why we're not even putting him on the bench. Genuinely agree, mate. Genuinely agree. Sergi says we have to remember these guys are new. Be a big culture shock to them. Hopefully they'll settle in soon. Mate, it only seems to be our team that it happens. You look at other clubs around the world that sign players, they come in, hit the ground running. Why is it only at Rangers this happens? DL2 says Big Leon should be captain instead of Tav because Leon cares, Tav doesn't. I agree on that one 100%. Look, for me, you've got to play your best team. You've got to play your strongest team, and you've got to stop messing around. You've got to stop with the excuses. You've got to stop with the stupid comments. You've got to stop with the deflection, the ridiculousness that he comes out with, you know, and that is just, for me, the one thing that is really worrying me about Philippe Clement at the moment is the crap that comes out of his mouth at times. You know, this rubbish over players starting or players coming back. You know, the other stuff that gets on my wires is, you know, post the Celtic game when we've been absolutely smashed by Celtic. You know, he comes out with these stats. And he talks about the fact we competed well. You know, we were the best team for 10 minutes. Yeah, but the game's 80 minutes long, Big Phil. And we beat Ross County 6-0. We don't fucking care about beating Ross County 6-0. We want to beat Celtic. We don't care. You know, we don't care if we beat Ross County 1-0. As long as we beat Celtic the next week, I don't give a monkeys how many we beat Ross County by, as long as we beat Celtic the week after. And if you're coming out with your argument being, we had 4 shots on target, they had 4 shots on target, it was an even game. No, it wasn't, Phil. It was not an even game. It was not an even game. And that's what worries me, is the comments that he comes out with are just utterly ridiculous at times, utterly stupid. Scott says Nsiala will want to leave if he's not given a chance. Happy birthday, Abby Matondo. Hopefully he will stay fit for more than a week. James, I think there's no chance of that, mate. Bluebells says, my theory is PC doesn't play players as soon as they're in the door, as he has such arrogance about players needing to learn his system, which is quite laughable. If I'm right, I agree with you. 100% agree with you. If you look at other teams around the world, I mean, okay, let's forget, the Real Madrids and Bayern Munichs and Barcelonas of this world. But if you look at Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, you look at their managers, right? You look at Arne Slot, Mikel Arteta, Ange Postecoglou, Pep Guardiola, Unai Emery at Aston Villa. They're all 10 times better than Big Phil as a manager. And they all play their new signings from game one. They start them. Well, if Emery, Guardiola, Klopp when he was Liverpool manager, Slot, if they all start their new signings from game one, what is it that they do that's different to what Clement does? Why is it that they can have a player ready to play, but we can't have a player ready to play from game one? For me, doesn't look good enough. Does not look good enough, in my opinion. Kenneth says Yefeko is a better player than Ciala. We let him leave, but he's on loan. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's coming back, Kenneth, if I'm being honest with you. Ben, I really, really hope so. I'll drive him to fucking Turkey myself, mate. I'll go now. I won't even charge him petrol prices. I don't think we'll get a better when we have Tav in the team, says Dado. I agree. Tav is shit. In my opinion, if we could put in the effort, Sterling could play a 6, but he's overlooked. We could play Casemiro, Kean as the right back and play Sterling as the 6. That's a good shout. Tav isn't going anywhere. He's waiting for Clement to get the sack to become our next manager. Oh, God help us. God help us. Tav staying for his testimonial, but won't be much of a crowd. Scott, I'll tell you this now. There will be no coverage of Tav's testimonial on this channel. None whatsoever. I will not cover that man's testimonial now. If he'd left 2 seasons ago, then you know what? He'd have been held in really high esteem. But the guy is dragging his reputation down. He's dragging his image down. He's dragging everything down. Players need to learn Clement's system. I have been watching this team for a year, and I still don't know his system or his tactics. Agreed. Look, I think that's a big one for me. His system is 4-2-3-1. I think that's the system. The tactics, I don't know what the tactics are. At times it's long ball. At times it's quick passing. At times it's play the ball into the final third, then start. I don't know what the way he wants to play is, but he's got to establish something. And for me, from Sunday, we need to see the strongest team out there. We need no more excuses, no more rubbish about switch his testimonial to Celtic Park. He'll get a fortune. Love it. He stayed just to get his face scanned for the new FIFA. Now he's leaving. Lol. Sterling will want to leave if he can't get in the team. Dado says correct. I think, look, for me, you've got to start playing Sterling at right back. Absolutely. You've got to, like I said, I've just been banging on about, you've got to pick your best team. You've got to play your best 11 players from the start. No excuses, no shit. Play your best 11 players. At the end of the day, just stop the excuses. Stop this diatribe of rubbish of he can't play because of this reason, he can't play because of that reason. We'll play this player out of position. We'll play that player out of position. Stop it. Just stop it. Because at the end of the day, Clement, you're going to cost yourself your job. And it's all going to be your fault, mate. It's going to be your fault. And you need to get over that. And you need to get this sorted. For me, this month, it's 4 wins or bust. For me, if we don't come out of September with 4 more wins, 4 wins from 5, which obviously, we discount the Celtic game because of that awful loss, then bigger questions start to need to be asked. Those games that we've got coming up in September are for a Rangers team. Any Rangers team should be 4 winnable games. Okay, there is no reason why we should be losing or drawing any of those 4 games. All those 4 games should be a win. Okay, there can be no more excuses. Okay, if he comes out of this with less than 4 wins, then we have got to start asking big questions, big questions. And if we fall any more points behind in the league, then even I will start to change my opinion and say it's time for him to be sacked. Clement's style reminds me of playing primary school football at lunchtime, 40 lads just running after the ball. Yeah, Matt, I remember those days, buddy. I remember those days, mate. Tragic days, but yeah. Looking at the poll at the moment, how many wins will Rangers get in the rest of September? Poll at the moment, 24% of you say 1 win, 22% say 2 wins, 24% of you say 3 wins, and 29% of you say 4 wins. Yeah, interesting. Derek in Glasgow says, Tav's treatment isn't a great help when we're looking for our next captain. Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, Derek, we need to go with the temporary captain until the end of the season. And then we go with the permanent captain next season once we've got some more players in. I genuinely believe that, for me, that the captain should be Leon Balogun until the end of the season. And once the season's over, then obviously Balogun's contract ends and we review it again. For me, Tav should be stripped of the captaincy now. He should be sold if we can to Turkey before the 18th of September. If we can't sell him before the 18th of September, I say stick him in the B team. Stick him in the B team. Give him the Cantwell treatment. That's what I would do with him. The guy's not up to it anymore. He needs to be gone. We've got Dujon Sterling now. We've got Cashin Joe now. All those guys can play. For me, can play as a right back and are better than James Tavernier, much better than James Tavernier or Tavernier or whatever the hell he's called. I don't really fucking care how you pronounce his last name. Right, guys, that is it for this morning, guys. For me, 4 wins or bust. Phil, stop fucking about. Play your best team from minute 1. Don't mess around. Guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation this morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another podcast. So please obviously come and join us for that. Thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Please obviously smash the like. And obviously as well, if you can, please obviously subscribe if you've not yet done so. Clement loves Tav, which is his biggest worry. Kian says here. I think after Beale left, we should have tried to get Gerrard back, but it wouldn't have happened. Yeah, I don't think we had the money, mate. Who will take pens? Matt Dessers. Guy that scored a penalty last time he took one. Cheers, no problems, Kenneth. He doesn't know what his best 11 is. He never has. Gary, you're right. I don't think he does know what his best 11 is. Or if he does, he just keeps rotating it. Derek, I think eventually Bannon could be the captain, but he's just a bit too young and inexperienced and un-Rangers experienced at this moment in time. That's why I would go with Balogun for the rest of this season. Right, guys, thank you for watching. Please hit that sub. Obviously, as well, if you want to, drop super thanks, super chat, super stickers. Obviously, all greatly welcome. Thank you for watching. As always, guys, on the way out, please smash that sub, drop a comment, and remember always, we are the people.